Hi, I'm Amanda Shikarchi, and I am in studio with Kenshin, who is a singer-songwriter from Toronto. His EP, Bonehead, is out now, and I'm excited to dive into it with him. Also, stay tuned as he will be performing a song from that EP after our conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, when did you realize music was something you wanted to pursue?
Uh, I was like, when I was like 16. No. Actually, sorry. When I was in the 8th grade, I was like really heartbroken. And I remember I found like a beat off of YouTube, and I rapped over that beat and tried to like make a song from it. And I showed my brother, and I was really excited to show my brother, my older brother. And he told me, "Oh, this sucks. This is like one of the worst things I've ever heard." And he's like, "Do you know anything about music?" And I'm like, "No, of course not." And he gave me a ukulele, and from there, I just got really into music. Ukulele was the first instrument I learned, and I got pretty good at that. And now I do other stuff. So
Yeah, and like how did the pandemic allow you to lock in on really getting music done?
I think like I was just so bored. Like there's nothing to do, and I wanted to feel productive in some way. So I really, I think up until that point, up until the pandemic, I just didn't really feel that locked in on music at all. It was just kind of like I guess a hobby, and then during the pandemic is when it became what I considered basically like my life, you know?
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like, one a pivotal moment for you was being part of an a cappella group. What do you remember about that time?
Um, it was fun. Being in an acapella group, it's like Pitch Perfect. Like I really like that movie.
Oh, me too.
It was like a really nice place to just grow and make friends. I made some really great friends during that time and met a lot of people that I can, I guess, turn to in terms of like being a vocalist. Like it inspired me to become a better vocalist for sure. And I guess like growing up, I didn't really have a lot of like music role models, if that, you know what I mean? And being in an a cappella group, like I had like a bunch of singers who were like all just like doing their own thing as well. And it was just like, it was so inspiring.
I love that. And like, what was the feeling like when you were performing live with them?
It was very nerve wracking for sure. Like, cause that was like it was definitely one of the first times I've ever like performed at least music live. It was very nerve wracking, but I think I think I eventually got the hang of it. I felt like that those performance experiences helped me become more of an outgoing person, and I think that really shows in a lot of my music now because I'm more willing to put my own personality into that music.
I love that. And who are some of your music influences?
Well, I think my number one is definitely Joji. My Instagram handle is Kenshin Burbank, and that comes from Joji's first like album, Chloe Burbank. And that was definitely like a huge like in terms of like because I didn't really grow up seeing a lot of Asian like musicians, and Joji was just one of those like who I could see as an inspiration and make similar music to him.
Amazing. Have you got to see him in concert yet?
Yeah, I have.
How was that?
It was nice. I was with my family. We all went together, and like my parents, they're not really like they don't really go to concerts like that, but they even said like, "Oh, like that was amazing." They had a really good time.
That's awesome. So let's talk about your EP, Bonehead, which is out now. What do you hope listeners take away from it?
I hope that listeners listen to it and think, "Wow, that's fire." uh, I guess like in terms of a lesson, I kind of just hope people are able to connect with it. Like these are songs that have kind of been in the vault for like years, to be honest, and only just now are seeing the light of day. And I've listened to a lot of these songs and they've been kind of like pivotal in moments in my life where I needed to hear, I guess, my own voice and remind myself of like what I've gone through. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. So going deeper on that, like what is the theme behind it?
So it's very much about just like romance, like romantic love, and my own perceptions of it. I think the arc of the story in the EP is about kind of learning to open up to accepting all forms of love, not just romantic, but like platonic, familial. Like the closer of the EP, Just a Conversation Away, is kind of just, to me, it means like everyone is kind of a conversation away from being like in your life, you know?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And what was the production process like?
For that song or for the whole EP?
For the EP?
There were a couple songs that I made with friends. Like Boneheaded Boy, I made that with a friend. They made the piano. They did like parts of the piano, and I took the chords from it and made it into like a full production. And then There's a Little Ghost in There was also with that same friend. We made that together. And then Just a Conversation Away, my friend who plays guitar made that snippet with me. And I think in terms of like the production process, I usually just like either a friend of mine or I come up with an idea to kind of start off, and then I just try to expand it as much as I can with like, you know, drums and bass and vocals, whatever comes to mind, really.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah, so I want to go here and really talking about, you know, you'll be performing this song, A Little Ghost in There, which got blown up on TikTok. Like, what was your reaction when you found that out?
I was pretty shook by it. I was like out. I was on vacation with my family, and so I didn't feel like I really had the time to fully process it blowing up. I wasn't even on my phone during that time. But when I saw the reaction to it, I was just happy that my music could reach any sort of audience. And I think a big thing from that, like, aside from, like, I guess blowing up, I think that the thing that really touched me was the fact that there were people who stayed, right? There were people who, like, stuck around for the other songs, and I really have a lot of appreciation for the new people.
That's beautiful. And I want to talk about the title track, Boneheaded Boy. How did that influence the direction of the EP?
I think because that song was one of the first ones that was very like personality driven that I've written, it made me want to make more personality driven songs where I feel like I'm showcasing, I guess, like my wit. There's a lot of humor in a lot of the songs. For example, like, I think Romance Is So Cliche is a song that was heavily inspired by Boneheaded Boy, wherein there is a rap where I make fun of myself. But yeah, I think the direction of the EP was definitely like driven by the personality that I put forth in Boneheaded Boy.
Beautiful. So I want to talk about the song, and I want to read a lyric, and I want you to, you know, either talk about what that lyric means or the song as a whole. But what I really liked is this line where you say, how should I know what to do when I don't know your point of view? I'm boneheaded, it's true.
I guess I could go a little bit into like the story of that song.
Yeah.
So there was like a girl who I had a really big crush on, and for a while I just kind of always assumed I never had a chance with her, and then I found out a while later that she also had a thing for me during that same time. And I guess to me, if I had known that, maybe I would have like made a move, I guess. But to me, it kind of feels like it was a boneheaded mistake that I didn't realize that she liked me back because there were a lot of obvious signs.
Wow, yeah, that's so interesting. And so another fun fact is that I heard you do some scoring for video games. How is that process different than working on your original work?
I actually don't think it's the only difference to me is that I just don't add vocals. And I also like just use a different like sound. I use different sound libraries, but I think it's like because I've worked with a friend who makes games on like scoring them and stuff like that, and we just like we kind of just make whatever we think sounds great. I don't think the process is that different from my like solo material, but obviously they do sound very different.
Yeah, like what is, when you think of the video games and you think of the visuals, do you think that kind of plays a role too? Like, do you find yourself kind of working with the music and visuals hand in hand?
I guess it depends. There's times where the score is kind of dictating where the game goes, and there's times where kind of anything that I make kind of fits with the visuals of the game. But I think usually, yeah, it's more that the game or the visuals of the game dictates how it sounds, for sure.
I love that. Are there any games that you enjoy just as a player?
I'm not really much of a gamer, to be honest. I've been really into the Pokemon games. Like I grew up on that, and I think that's a big like inspiration in terms of like the direction of my own sound, for sure.
Oh, I love that. And so here's a fun question for you. If you were to describe your music as a food, what would it be?
I think can I use a drink?
Sure.
Probably boba.
Ooh, okay.
Right. I think there's lots of surprises, lots of balls. There's I think it's very sweet. I think a lot of my sound just sounds like candy,
Oh, I totally hear that. And what is next for you? What projects or what are you working on?
I've been working on I've definitely been working on more production heavy sounds. I'm moving a little bit away from what I'd describe as like bubblegum pop sound and more towards like a digicore hyperpop thing. I hope that I guess like the audience that I have accrued would might have interest in it. If not, that's okay. But that's the direction that I plan on taking my new sound.
I love that. I can't wait to hear it. And for people who want to learn more about you and your music, where can they find you?
You can find me at Kenshin Burbank, KENSHIN BURBANK, on all platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kenshin, for the conversation. The EP Boneheaded Boy is out now. And stay tuned for Kenshin's live session performance with us.